Welcome back. This is Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. I'm not Chris.
And I'm not Karina.
But we're here together.
As usual.
And we are ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. We have a bunch of subjects that we can get into or ignore.
Depending on where the conversation takes us.
Yeah.
Because that is what it do.
It's more like guidelines.
Exactly. We're like, they're not rules, they're guidelines. The pirate code, if you will. Yep. Shall we get into our weekly recap first?
Well, first, what are we going to talk about today?
Oh, today.
What are our subjects?
Ooh, today is interesting because we have some like feedback ones from Discord.
Yep.
And then we have some that we were talking about because we did our live yesterday. And that'll be a thing moving forward. We will be doing Friday lives at 5:30-ish.
Right.
In our Discord.
Yeah.
So come chat with us.
It's
a
just
lot of fun.
We plan the next recording and talk and hang out. And
and we were on for a long time.
Yeah, we were on till like 7:30 from 5:30.
Yeah. So it was just good. Good flow.
It was fun.
Yeah. I don't even think we took a break, did we?
No, we just hung out.
We just went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good stuff. So that'll be Fridays at 5:30 Mountain Time.
Mm-hmm.
Come hang. But we are going to dive into kind of a near and dear subject to us because we can all kind of relate to this. Being handed around by like doctors, like hot potato, where they are refusing that responsibility for you and hoping someone else will do it. And then we fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
And then from there, kind of moving into the anxiety and what anxiety is and what it isn't, because I'm sure if you are chronically ill, you've had someone tell you that, oh, it's just anxiety. It's just your anxiety.
We had a long conversation about this yesterday, but yes.
Yeah. So
we'll get into it.
We'll jump into that in the first half. And then hopefully, depending on where we are in the second half, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the experience of, I don't know how to word that one, like
being born ill, like
yeah,
growing up ill versus finding out later in life.
Right. The difference between kind of, I don't know, our thinking and our adaptability.
Yeah.
And then that confirmation bias that comes along with it.
That and Facebook confirmation bias. I mean, that, ooh, boy.
Yeah, we'll be diving into that. That one's fun.
But it is time.
It's time for the weekly recap.
Check in.
Indeed. So I think, is it my turn or your turn?
It's your turn.
It's my turn. I don't know what happened earlier in the week. I don't remember Monday.
We already talked about our week, so now you can't remember.
Right. Let's see. So I know I had a snow day on Wednesday, which was nice. And it was just, that's what it was. The whole week was just kind of rough and awful because pain.
We had major storms come through.
Yeah. Like 2-3 times in the week. And it was just miserable. So the weather's kind of been killing us. And then on Friday, I just had it. Friday was a day. So
honestly, I was impressed that we did the live after hearing about your day. Holy God.
So I woke up and it was just a day where I woke up and I was like, dear God, why? Like, whose idea was being awake? Because this is bullshit and I don't want to do it. So I got up and I showered and I did my stuff and I left the house and realized I had left my meds at home. And I was like, oh, no, this is not the day for that. And so I went home, parked in the driveway instead of in the garage like I normally do, and immediately fell. So I slipped on the ice and fell. And so I braced my ankle the whole day. I got to work and I was late and I was running around. And I didn't even take my meds until like noon.
Right.
And my alarm for that goes off at 9. So I was 3 hours late for my medications. Wow. And, it gets better. Our boiler wasn't working. And it was freezing, like freezing.
What was the temperature in the house or in the building?
So the coldest room after they got one of the boilers working was 52 degrees.
Oh God, dude.
Yeah.
No.
52 degrees. It was freezing. I think our warmest room was like 63.
Yeah, that's what you said yesterday.
And it was just bad.
And there's babies.
Yes. And so I was just in a mood. So I braced my ankle all day, and I was already like unhappy about that. Because it like rubs on the bone and it makes me really sore.
Yeah.
Don't like it. But I was being responsible and protecting my joints and shit.
Yep.
But yeah, so I spent Friday just the whole morning bitching because I was like, my hands hurt, my bones hurt, my knees hurt, my wrists hurt, my elbows hurt. It's just horrible. And I'm done. And I was like ready to leave the building and just be like, nope, I'm done. I'm going home.
Fair.
And so we finally got everybody's attention and we were like, it's too cold. And kids are leaving because they're cold. Mm-hmm. And they're just, we cannot do this. And the babies were cold and their little hands were cold and their little noses were all red. And so finally admin called it at lunch and we were like, thank God we're getting out of here.
No joke.
Yeah, I was not pleased. And then we wound up going to my coworker's house and it was like, let's see, it was like 6 of us just hanging out. And we were like, we're still working. It's team building.
Just talking shit though, right?
Yeah.
Like
we just had a collective like bitching session and it was funny.
It's good.
So it was good. We ended the day like well. And then I came over here and we did our live and that was fun.
Yeah, it went well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if anything else happened earlier in the week. I don't think I had any appointments.
No, I did. It was my week for stuff.
Yeah. I have appointments next week. So I see, I think, the pain psychologist again, and I see my DO, my pain management doctor.
Same.
Yeah, I think it was pretty uneventful, aside from just not
Being
feeling
rough.
good
Yeah.
all week. Because we came back from being hybrid, and everyone's back in the building now. Mm-hmm. And we were just fed up, and the kids were fed up, and we were like, it's hard to go from like being at school for 2 days to being at school for 5. So it was really nice that we had that midweek snow day, which was really, really just lovely. What did you drop?
I dropped one of my fidgets.
Oh, no.
It's gone forever.
Oh, no.
Because I can't bend over.
Oh, I found it.
Okay.
I have rescued it.
Yes.
Oh, that other thing was the head jerking.
Oh, yeah.
Back in force. So it happens like every once in a while, but it had kind of slowed.
Yeah.
So I was doing well, and then like the last 3 days,
Is there a med that you
really
stopped?
bad.
Because I know you were taking something for spasms at some point.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know.
Now it's reached the limit of efficacy.
I think that's what's happening is that it's just like, nope, we're used to this now. And then that caused, because I showed you this morning.
Yeah.
This morning I was shaving my armpits and I had a spasm and jerked. And it's like, I don't know, 3-4 inches. Is it bigger than that? Holy shit. So I have like 6 inches.
Yeah, it's long.
A 6-inch like slice.
Yeah, you potato peeled yourself.
Yeah, in my underarm. That was an eyelash. I got it finally.
The relief.
Yeah. So yeah, yesterday was bad.
Yep.
Today it's windy, so we're not feeling great.
It's better though.
And that's, yeah. I had to explain to my mother-in-law that I was like, if the wind is blowing, it's safe to assume I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Because that is when the fronts are
It's like,
exchanging places.
it's what we said earlier, that we go outside and yell at the fronts.
Yep.
Neighbors think we're crazy. Like, what are you doing? They're fighting and it sucks. Please.
There are times where I literally will take pictures of clouds and then send them to Chris and be like, this bitch. It's this bitch that's causing the pain.
Found him.
That fucker. But yeah. So it was a week, but it wasn't like a bad week. It was just
rough week.
It was rough and it was like emotionally intense in places.
Yeah.
But it was a week.
Yeah.
But I have lovely, wonderful coworkers. I had to explain the TikTok.
Oh yeah,
to one of them.
She knows that she has friends. She's not.
Yes.
She was trying to get a rise out of me.
Exactly. So yeah, no, I'm not bemoaning anything. I was just trying to be a little shit.
And she was.
Yeah.
And I called her out on it. So
that was the whole point.
Yeah.
And that's why I made the face when I did it and waited.
Yeah.
It was like,
Oh, nobody.
And then he was like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, haha, there we go. But yeah, so there we are.
So my week, I had a good week actually.
Yeah.
Like physically it sucked, but I got stuff done. Like I did the MRI.
Yeah.
And
TikToks.
And we made the TikToks.
And we had a really good episode that came out today.
Yeah, I liked last week's better, but this week's is good.
Last week's was really good.
It was really good. It was like a
so like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
But I got the results. We have at least the report back on my spine, and there was I didn't show you the whole report because it's like L1 through L5 and then a little lower.
Well, because we knew that you had like bulging discs and stuff,
Yeah,
and that's going to create scar tissue.
It's all there's like 4 that are bulging.
Fuck.
And I was like, ooh, proof. I'm gonna remember this. I totally forgot about that till you said it, but they were bulging. There's like 3 that are either they are or they are. I guess they're visibly that they have bulged. Because I've told you I felt it before when they do.
No herniation though, right?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Nothing like that. At least they didn't say. But the big thing was there's a lot of arachnoiditis, so there's a lot of swelling of the spinal column.
Yep.
And sticking to the sides of the
So explain what that is.
So it's agitated and they swell up, and as they swell up they stick to the edges of the spinal column, basically the dura. And that causes more swelling, and it kind of feeds into itself, and it sucks. It hurts. Yeah. So there's more of that in my spine than was previously there. And there's column narrowing. Stenosis, is that what it was?
I think so.
Yeah. And that could be causing the leg issues.
Yep. Because you're compressing nerves.
Yeah.
And that like nerve root.
I don't know what we're going to do to fix it.
Yeah. Well, and that was the frustrating part, because it's like, supposedly that would be good news, right? No tumor.
Exactly. No tumor, but at the same time, no tumor, no easy fix.
Right.
They're not likely to go in. Like, it's hard to find someone who will go in and try and fix these problems.
Right. Well, and especially with arachnoidosis, because
that's from scarring. That causes, you mess with it and you have a risk of making it worse.
And it's interesting because we learned that it's a really painful thing. Like, it is excruciating. If you look it up, people are like, this is like a pain condition. Yeah. It is a pain condition. And you cope miraculously. So good job.
I mean, I'm struggling today, but
I know.
Like,
and your side pain's bad.
I was hobbling around. Yeah. My side pain, I don't think I've had side pain since the podcast has been on. We solved it for the most part. Yeah. I used to have crippling side pain. It was from a nerve from the tumor shooting out from the back and going through my front. So it felt like kidney pain.
Well, and that's exactly what, like, they thought it was kidney pain for a really long time.
Yeah, we did, like, biopsies, and I did a bunch of endoscopies and colonoscopies to try and find out what was going on. It was nerve damage from a tumor.
Yep. Well, and that's from neurofibromatosis 2? Yeah. 2.
Yeah, I have a bunch of schwannoma tumors on my back. Like, you felt them, I'm sure, when you're working. Like, they feel like knots almost, but they're kind of like...
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because... Yeah, it's like if you've ever seen like a spider's egg sac.
Yeah.
On a web, it's like that. So you've got like the ball, and then it just and
they're just tumors that encase nerves. And our half brother has it.
Yeah.
Our secret half brother.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jordan. I haven't talked to you,
dude.
Yeah. I follow you.
They had a second baby, so we have
two.
It's crazy.
Two nephews?
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. Anyways, so that happened this week.
Yeah.
I'm not like upset about it. It's something to move forward on.
It's just frustrating to be like, okay, but what are the next steps?
Yeah.
And then having to wait to find out what next steps are.
Everything on the back is so like you have to find the right person willing to do the right thing.
Right.
So it's more of what we're going to talk about being passed around and like I have a good surgeon, so I'm not too worried about it. He's the one who wants to do the spinal stimulator, which might
and I think if you could
impact
do that, it might help.
Yeah, that might be the solution. Yeah. So we'll see.
Hopefully they don't want to do like steroids again, because that would suck. They're like, let's try to reduce the swelling. No, fuck you.
No, thank you. No, thank you at all.
No. Yeah. Fuck that. Jesus. But yeah, no, that kind of goes into that being passed around. And I mean, now we've found a pretty good team and a pretty good setup for the most part, but it still happens even within those teams.
Right.
And this is actually a topic that we picked because it was brought up in our Discord.
Yeah.
About being kind of handed back and forth between doctors and trying to fight for a diagnosis, but having somebody go, yes, I think that's what you have, but I'm not going to diagnose it. I'm going to hand it to someone else. It's the med, huh?
Yeah. My heart's fluttering. I hate it. Stop.
It's the worst. I get it like right in the hollow.
Oh yeah.
And that one is always where I hate it. Like,
anyways. Yeah. I could talk about my hand me around journey.
Go for it.
Because it started with just trying to get a solution. So we had a nurse practitioner who's amazing.
Emily?
No.
What was her name?
Now you've got me stuck on Emily. It's not Emily.
Emily was the rheumatologist.
Rheumatologist,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
The one who we saw eventually. No, what was her name? It'll come to me.
Okay. I know. I was like, oops, sorry, I fucked it up.
It's all good. But we went from that to imaging, and then imaging back, and then we had to find a specialist who would look at it.
Yeah.
At the imaging, right?
So like read the images.
Right.
Blah blah blah.
What was the journey? Oh, we got lucky. Okay, so we got handed to rheumatology for a bit. Rheumatology sent me to from rheumatology we went to a geneticist that we never got to see because that got messed up.
That guy.
Yeah. Well, we never saw him.
Well, and it was like 2 years later that you finally saw a geneticist.
Yeah. But in the meantime, let's see. It was when I found Dr. Worrell at the ER. That was when we started the shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Like I got lucky that he was on call and he was like, "We'll take your Medicaid and we'll see you."
Yeah.
Which they don't normally do.
That was exactly it.
And then he started to work on my shoulders. That was how we got started on shoulders, but finding out the journey for the side pain, which was also part of the finding out about EDS journey because we thought it was Marfan's.
Yep.
For the longest time, we thought it was Marfan's. We did. I went from nurse practitioner to back to rheumatology to a what was it? Nephrologist.
Who's the nephrologist?
Kidney biopsy.
Oh yes, okay.
Then we went to endocrinology.
Yeah.
And then we went to what is it? I can never remember it. The the colonoscopy and the endoscopy.
Gastroenterology.
Gastroenterology.
Yeah.
Then we went back to rheumatology. Then we went back to gastro. Then we went back to we did a full circuit, and it was at that point that I started with becoming a better self-advocate.
Yeah.
Learning that they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They were just looking to pass me off to whoever.
Yep.
And I had to actually start standing up for myself in the
you're
meetings.
Very lucky to have Jen as well.
God.
Jen will stand her fucking ground.
Yeah.
When because you and I we've been through so much and had so many people say nothing's wrong with you, that we kind of shut down.
Yes.
At that point, and we stopped advocating because we've already decided nothing's gonna change. They're not gonna help us. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And then we kind of shell up and turn inward.
Exactly. But Jen will fight somebody.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, and Jen fought for me, and that was how we started too, when we were getting closer to diagnosis, because that's what I thought it was. And I went to my first doctor with Kaiser, and she told me that I didn't need a diagnosis. Yeah. And I was like, don't
know about that one, Chief.
And I left really upset, and I was on the verge of tears, and Jen was just Jen was pissed for me. And that was the beginning of it's okay to doctor shop.
Yeah.
And that's really what we learned through that was doctor shop, advocate for yourself. They're not going to help you. Find someone who will.
Right. You are dealing with a person who just has opinions and their own thoughts.
Right.
At the end of the day, they're not these idols.
Yeah.
They get treated, in our head, we build them up. They're the doctor. They have the answers.
Right.
They're the doctor. They have some answers and they're going to see you through a lens.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to have to stand up for yourself.
Right.
Or find someone who will.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you've had other experiences where that passing the buck really negatively impacted you, with after surgery medication.
Oh my God.
That one was really bad.
Oh,
really
dude.
bad.
That happened twice.
Yeah.
On 2 surgeries. So pain management is a godsend. But pain management needs to be, you need explicit, clear plans when you have surgery done on who's taking care of who, and they need to know it.
Yep. Well, and that's the thing is they are horrible at communicating with one another.
Yes.
And so you have to essentially like middleman the shit out of it and like just really be on top of them because otherwise they're just not.
Even the last time it happened, we went into it and Melissa who was leaving the practice, which is what the problem was Melissa was leaving.
That's right.
So like she had a plan, she was in charge of it. We went to we went to the surgeon, told him it's taken care of, don't worry about it. And then went back to Melissa and she was like, oh, I thought they were doing it. It's like, but we had a plan. And so then we went back to the surgeon. The surgeon was like, oh, but we.
Yeah. Because that's the thing with pain management. They're like, oh, you can't, like you sign an agreement that basically says you won't get pain medication from anybody but pain management.
Right.
But then surgery is this like major outside factor.
Right.
And if they're not communicating and you don't have a good plan set up, then.
Right. And for back surgery, imagine like I had my
it was awful.
My spinal column opened and they removed a tumor on my spinal cord.
Yep.
Recovering from that was hell.
Yeah.
And I didn't have pain meds for half of it.
Yep. Well, and you were in just a really dark place at the time anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and partially because of.
Yeah.
Like it was horrible.
That was the peak of like I was making things up still. Like we had no idea what was going on. This is pre-EDS diagnosis and Marfan's wasn't fitting and every doctor we saw except for one who was working with me, my primary, believed in me. So
yeah. It's not good.
No.
It's not good. But yeah, no, I can't bitch too much because Kaiser, and this is the thing, like everybody talks about like hating Kaiser, which I'm not sure I understand. And it might just be that like it's not good for like people who are generally well.
I kind of get that impression.
Yeah.
Because they've been great for you having everything in-house like that.
Yes. And that's the thing is that when it's all in-house, the communication's done.
Yeah.
Like all they have to do is pull up my file.
You've had meetings. People have had multiple groups of different sects of your care like come together to discuss things and then come back to you and be like, this is what we think. Like that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So
I have to do that over the span of like 2 months.
Right. Well, and that's like I'm extremely grateful to have Kaiser because it does work.
Yeah.
Like, and it works for me to have, and I think that's exactly it. Is that like I live at Kaiser.
Yeah.
That's just how that works. We do a surgery every year, sometimes more than one. Mm-hmm. Like last year, we did. No.
Yeah,
it was like May and then March.
You did hips and hips.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, no, but even within Kaiser, I've had the like kind of passing around that happens. Or I get the thing where they limit you to like pick one issue and you're like, but there's more than one. And so you have to have a separate referral for each and every fucking thing. And so that makes it difficult.
That's what I kind of have to deal with. Yeah. And like that doing multiple things at the same time is so fucking hard. Yeah. It gets so confusing when you're like, who am I seeing and why?
Right.
What is this?
That happened to me with the PT, remember?
Yeah.
After surgery? Because I was like, is this the like abdominal adhesions people or is this the after surgery people?
Right. And
I got mixed up and that was funny. But
yeah,
you need like a separate referral for each foot and you need a separate referral for... And I'm like, can we just look at everything all at once while I'm here?
Can I just do a full body scan and then we can work top down or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Like really, let's figure it out. But I don't know. And it's hard. It's hard depending on where you're at with insurance. It's hard depending on whether you qualify for Medicaid and then finding people who take Medicaid.
Yeah.
And then one of our Discord buddies was talking about in Canada, it's hard to doctor shop.
Yeah.
Because you might go without a doctor for 2 years trying to find a new one.
Yep.
And that's terrifying.
Oh my God. Every time I've lost my primary, I've had that panic.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to find somebody, build rapport, have them like understand my condition, believe in my condition,
and not leave.
Right. Especially
as soon as
with
we're
my
making
med
progress.
list. Like, we've gone over my med list before. It's heavy.
Yeah.
I'm on a lot of things, and they're going to come in and they're going to see things and make judgment calls on,
yes,
you're on this and this and this. And, you know, it's so stressful.
Yeah. Well, and like having to tell your story over and over and over again.
Which I have to do because my new primary is going to be in.
Oh, yeah.
Sylvia is only temporary. So, like, next time we go in, it might be the actual
How's it going with
fill-in
the
doctor.
psychiatrist part?
Still haven't seen them. I'm waiting for the referral to go through, or...
That's not good. You're going to be out of meds, and that's not good.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be out of Concerta, and I'm going to die.
Oh,
I'll
no.
be a slug.
Yeah, no. No.
Yeah.
They need to get on that. But, yeah, no, I've heard in Canada, like, it's hard. You got to be on, like,
Jesus.
a waiting list, and... Ugh, I can't imagine. And we like in the U.S. we tend to idolize Canada's medical system because they're like, oh, it's built right in and it's great. And I mean, idealistically, sure,
it's good for like the little things, I'm sure, or emergent
yes,
issues.
and that's what I've heard is emergent issues. They are fantastic.
When you have a chronic, it sounds a lot like what we have to go through.
Right.
If you got to find somebody to be on the list for fucking ever.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and I wondered, and this might just be a question for Morgan in general, is like, can you look for a new one without leaving the old one? Or do you have to leave the old one before you can have a new one?
Because I've done that. I've shopped while being with somebody.
Right.
But if you have to delegate because of the way the system works, like,
yeah.
Oh, I want to go see this person. Do
Yeah.
you have to then be
well,
like...
and then being stuck with a shitty doctor where you're like, I'm not going to get the care that I need.
Well, yeah.
That's so frustrating. Can you imagine? Like... That's horrible.
I'm sorry, Morgan.
Yeah, God, having...
You deserve better.
Yes.
Seriously.
Like, fuck. And it's hard, because, like, if you've got a doctor who is just checked out, how do you make them check back in, and how do you get your needs met?
That I don't know. Because every time that's happened, I've just kind of had
right,
to
we
move.
just leave the doctor.
Well, and I've tried to, like... You know, I like please them in a way.
Yeah.
You know, like try and
the ego stroking and
well, not just that, like doing what they want. Like
yes.
I'll try all your ideas. Look, I'm trying to show you that I'm putting an effort.
Right.
But even then, I've had doctors where they're tuned out. They don't.
Yep.
They've
already decided. Mm-hmm. That's the big one for me is that like they look at your chart and they make a judgment before they even see you.
Yeah.
In office, and
like
they're like, well, and that's where we come into like, oh, it's anxiety.
Oh, yes. This is
look at our segue. Haha.
Oh, man.
Call back to season 1. A big way.
So, I've had this happen before for certain things. You have definitely had this happen where a problem that you're having is being deferred to something else.
Yes.
In this case, we're being specific about anxiety.
Yep.
But, like, they harp on it. Mm-hmm. Like... Why aren't you sleeping? It's because of your anxiety, isn't it? Like, yeah. No, it's...
Or they, like... And all the questions are so leading.
Yes.
Where they're like... Is it your racing thoughts that keep you up at night?
No.
Are you just, like, worrying about everything all the time?
So my anxiety is my anxiety is more PTSD, though. So, like, when I've woken up or been... like had issues sleeping because of anxiety, it hasn't been racing thoughts. It's
like panic attack.
Wake in the middle of the night, terrified that I'm in the middle of a very deadly situation and I can't make that feeling go away.
Yeah. Like the impending doom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your thoughts are racing, but it's never like I don't lay down and then. But I have though. Like I've had really bad anxiety that was like crippling anxiety. Mm-hmm. Where like even the thought of like going upstairs was intimidating to me. Because I'd have to interact with somebody or like because the state I was in was so bad.
Well, and it's
that was from the dark times.
Yeah. Well, and I'm like relating that back to trauma now because I'm like we were hyper vigilant people.
Yeah.
And that hypervigilance is that anxiety.
Exactly.
Right? Like you're on high alert all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to train your brain out of that.
Yes.
Like.
I mean, what? I don't know how I got out of it, honestly, other than working on other mental health issues first. And then it kind of declined as everything else stabilized.
Well, right. Because I think I think what makes the biggest difference is like learning that you are in fact safe.
Yeah.
And then learning that you don't have to be hypervigilant about everything. Yeah.
But like, okay, so then taking that and saying that that's the reason everything else is going on with you. Like,
yes,
Kaylee, who went in, she had a chest pain, a physical pain that was deferred to as anxiety. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just your anxiety.
Yep.
But it's a chest pain. Like,
that's what I get is like, they usually go, oh, you had a panic attack. And I'm like,
you don't have panic attacks, though.
It was not a panic attack. Because
I
can
are pretty clear.
ground, like, because this was when we were dealing with like the esophageal spasms.
Oh yes.
And those would come with a lot of like dysautonomic symptoms that all happened all at once. So it felt like having a heart attack and a stroke all at once.
Right.
And it would happen, and it would like sometimes it would wake me out of a dead sleep, and sometimes it would happen just like going to bed or laying down, or other times it would happen out of the fucking blue.
Yeah.
And they just kept telling me that like, oh, you had a panic attack, and I'm like, but no, it's not.
No, I've had that happen too. I'm thinking back like a couple ER visits when I've gone in for like EKGs and stuff.
Yeah.
They like to defer it to as anxiety, but I'm like, or heartburn.
Oh, that's the other one. I'm like, bitch, I know what heartburn fucking feels like. Fuck
I've
you.
had intense heartburn that felt like heart pain.
Yeah.
But I'm able to delineate, and I'm on like a ton of acid blockers, so I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God, that's the other thing. Sorry. My stomach's been fucked up.
Mine too.
The last couple weeks. I don't know what's going on, but I've had like heartburn and regurgitation, and if I like lean over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the other day.
The valve is not working.
All I did was wake up and take my meds and drink a little water. Mm-hmm. My meds came up, but they were liquefied, so I had that really bitter taste.
Oh, it's nasty.
And all I did was lean over to pick something up.
Yep. And it's just like, I'm a little teapot.
It's like, hey, those muscles that are supposed to hold things closed, why are they so loose?
They're just not doing shit at all. And then I've been like vomiting, but that's partially due to meds.
Yeah.
Like
new meds.
Body was like, fuck that.
Well, now you've, yeah. As a side note, the only good thing about that is that I can relate.
Yeah.
Like, remember when I was describing how it's not nausea, it's like incessant. It's its own breed of thing.
Yes. It's totally different because you're like, and it is, it's not nausea. It's like.
Right, because puking doesn't help.
Right.
It doesn't go away.
Right. You're just like, nothing's going to stay in my stomach.
Yeah.
Ever again.
And you just constantly feel it. Like, all I could do when I was testing meds out and doing all that was lay down on the couch and try not to throw up all the time, 24/7.
Yeah.
Because I was going to adjust.
It was like fall asleep or throw up.
Ugh. Yeah, no, thank you. I do not miss those days at all.
Not fun. But yeah, no, just. And I think there's like a huge gender bias with that like sexism piece.
Oh yeah, especially when it comes to like anxiety and stuff like that. Yeah,
when they're like, I don't know, they're very prone to telling women that like it's anxiety or that pain you're feeling is just your period, and you're like, bitch.
Oh
what?
My God, Jen, every time she has kidney stones, which she has chronic kidney stones, she has to eat a special diet because she once went in with 29 full-size kidney stones.
Oh God.
Didn't believe her for 12 hours though. She was in the ER the whole time, and you're like, oh, it's just your period.
This
is
how
cramps.
People die. This is how people die.
Yeah.
They go to the ER for something serious, and they're turned away because some doctor is like, oh, you're a stupid woman and you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And clearly you've never had a period before, and that's what this feels like. And
right.
Then they send them home and they fucking die.
No shit. Like, it blows my mind that that's the go-to is, oh, it's just cramps.
Yeah.
Instead of like, investigate. Maybe there is a problem. Let's rule out the possibility of something serious and then tell you it's your period.
Right? Yeah. Well, and that goes like, you have that sexism and then you have like weight bias.
I get weight bias.
Weight bias is huge.
I get weight bias
all
the time.
Oh, you should just lose some weight and then all your symptoms are going to go away.
Yeah. I had a conversation with somebody. With Sylvie, but she wasn't being mean. She was suggesting, she's like, I think it might help all your pain. I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't eat horribly. I eat very little, actually. a lot of it's like from the meds. Like
Right.
as I've tried new meds, I've noticed my weight fluctuate,
Yeah.
And my current balance is I'm like slowly on a decline now
Yeah.
with what it is. Like whatever we changed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
it's hard to keep track.
Right. But I've been losing weight.
Mm-hmm.
But goddamn, like I'll go in and everything's weight problems.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's
I had the opposite for the
you were
longest time.
underweight.
When people were like, especially with the spasms.
Yeah.
Because I would get these like crazy kicking ones. Like it felt like I was going to hatch an alien out of my fucking chest.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, you can just, it's because you're skinny. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, your bones hurt because you're skinny.
Well,
like,
remember when all of my shoulder problems were atrophy because I typed?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, remember when I had carpal tunnel and tennis elbow at like 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Stupid.
All this to say that doctors are fallible and
Yes. Well, and that's the thing is
you need to advocate
we forget that.
or find someone to advocate.
Yes.
I really do think that having a partner is important, even if it's just a friend.
Yeah.
Somebody
An
who
accountability buddy.
Yeah. We saw in one of the comments yesterday that we were reading on like the Facebook. They were like, I need somebody to go in. And I was like, yes, you do. You absolutely need somebody to go with you.
Yep. Well, and that's what, like, when we had my first pain management appointment, I took you because it's like somebody needs to keep me honest here.
Well, and they appreciated that.
Yes.
The fact that they were like, yes, we want this. That says something.
Yeah, they're like, help advocate for yourself because, and that's the thing, like good doctors know that sometimes it's hard to communicate what we need.
Yeah.
But it's hard to find those good doctors too sometimes.
This whole bit is just about how healthcare sucks.
Yep.
All the flaws that we've endured.
Right? God. Well, and especially when it comes to like diagnosis. Diagnosis is so hard when you're just getting handed back and forth and people are like, let's assign it a different name.
Yeah, well, especially when it's not like a big diagnosis, when you're looking for like specifically like my side pain or when it's a specific thing and they can't identify it right off the bat.
Right.
Then you're just someone else's problem.
Yeah. Well, and that's why like, and I know we're learning more about it now and the stigma is starting to fall away from it, but that's why I hate hearing when people are like, oh, I'm diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And you're like, because they used it for so long as this just like blanket, we don't know what's wrong with you. You might be faking.
Right.
Here's this like sticker diagnosis for you.
So yeah, you go in with that on your record.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the same treatment. They're going to be like, ooh. So it's undiagnosable, whatever you have, and it might not be real. You might be faking it. So
exactly. Yep.
It's bullshit.
Yep. Yeah.
I hate that so
much. Oh, it's awful. Which is why, like, I never went near fibromyalgia. I just was like, it's neuropathy.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. Especially with, like, EDS. Because we have dysautonomia.
Yeah.
Which means our nervous systems don't function correctly.
Right.
What
does?
Right, exactly.
One thing that does function correctly.
Nothing. Yeah, no. Fucking terrible. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention the whole I ripped my foot open thing.
Like we have to. If we don't mention this, the whole podcast is ruined.
No, it's just funny to me.
Okay, let's get into you ripping your foot open.
Oh, yes. So I had an ingrown, and I didn't know I had an ingrown, and it was infected. And I didn't know it was infected. And then I worked out on Thursday and ripped it open.
So painful.
So bad. And then I suffered all of Friday.
You kicked the table yesterday. I did,
and I'm
with
like,
it.
Oh, it was bad.
I dropped, or I kicked my chair with my last one, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And I almost blacked out because it was
like,
oh,
exactly.
God.
It's like blackout pain. Holy shit.
It was intense.
Why does that hurt so bad?
But you did home surgery, yes?
Yep. And so I opened that shit up and dug all that out.
Does it feel better?
Yeah. It's fine. Like I can touch it and everything.
Yeah.
But I had to drain all of like the infected, like the infectious fluids.
Did you clean it properly?
Yeah. Yep. Lots of alcohol.
You're just pouring booze all over it. One for me, one for my foot. One for me, one for my foot.
Yeah. No. But I was like, I had a pain med on board because I was just miserable yesterday.
Jesus.
It was so bad. It was so bad. And like being cold did not help.
No.
Because like
all day?
All my joints just hurt so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I had to tell them at work. I was like, I functioned with shingles for a week. So if I'm bitching, it's bad.
Note. I like doing that.
It's bad.
When you're like, hey, so I've had this done.
Yeah.
And this is worse than that. Yeah. So let's.
Yeah. Please. And
my metric for pain.
Yeah. Well, and I told them earlier in the day that I was like, I'm just going to like get progressively louder and more crazy with my whining.
Yeah.
Throughout the day until you guys call it because I'm over it.
Yeah, no shit.
But they called it and it was a good choice.
I just like again the babies thing.
Yeah.
To have babies in the building that are that just
well,
hurts.
and we had to kind of go that route to get it called because
like,
we were like I had some of the kiddos, but the parents went back and they were like, "Oh, her little nose was so red and it's freezing back there." And I was like, "No, we're done.
Yeah,
we're done. We need to close the building. Come on." So, there we go. Are you thinking break time?
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, what do they need to do?
They need to drink water.
Yes.
For sure.
Yep. Hydrate.
As I've been doing.
Eat something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or like have a snack. Just put something in your body.
Here's a new one. Think about what you've done today and note that you've actually accomplished things.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't fully accomplished the task, you've still worked on it.
Yes.
Like it still counts.
Yeah. That's huge. I think because we tend to like discount the good stuff.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. Yeah. Don't discount the good. You are worthwhile and you're doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And then did we say take your meds?
No, take your meds.
Take your meds if you have not.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. Stop snoozing that alarm.
That's going to hit me.
Future me.
Yeah, exactly. When we watch this back, I'm going to get dinged.
Yep. Every time I'm like, oh, God damn it.
Go outside.
Take my meds. Yeah. Get some sunlight if you can.
Or get cozy.
Yep. Something soft or fluffy.
And do something nice for yourself.
Yeah. And we'll see you in a minute.
Yeah. Welcome back. How was your break?
Did you do the things?
Hopefully. We can only hope.
We did things, but
our break was chaos.
Yep.
We had to emergency cool down the room.
Yep.
Which is not easy. This room is not easy to cool down.
Mm-mm. Not anymore.
No. Like, this is a window. You wouldn't know it, but it's a window.
Yep.
And there's one over there. And it was still impossible to cool down.
Yeah. So it's still warm, and we both had, like, flash heat craziness.
Yeah. You know, like when you just start to melt for no reason?
Yeah. It was like, it's a 104-degree fever all of a sudden, but only for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I'd make sure we were recording.
We ice packed, and I threw up for fun.
This is the rest of the podcast.
Not for fun.
I did not put a thing on my head. If you're listening, just know that I sound normal. Oh, it feels so good, though.
It wasn't cold enough.
No, it wasn't.
Like, I was so hot that it didn't feel cold.
I know. And it was in the freezer.
It was like, fuck.
I pulled it out of the freezer and everything, so.
I need to find all of my ice packs because I think they're all out of my freezer now.
Oh, that's not good. I still have my giant one.
I'm at that point of, you know, that like time of year, I don't know, it's weird where you start like, I don't know, you have to sleep with an ice pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've hit that point.
Yeah, me too.
This is not great. I kind of like it though. I love sleeping with an ice pack. Like you just lay it over your belly and you go to sleep.
Yeah. It reminds me of surgery because, you know, we're always icing post-surgery.
I don't know. I think part of why we heal so well is because we can tolerate ice for a longer period of time.
Oh, yeah.
And so we literally will just let the ice pack melt. And I know they say like no more than 20 minutes. And I'm like, fuck you, 20 minutes.
I never do that.
Never.
I'm constant. I leave it on forever.
I leave it on until it is literally not cold anymore.
And then switch it.
And then you switch.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know. Maybe we might kill our nerves with, I don't know. What's the whole like no more than 20 minutes thing?
Yeah, maybe it is something about damage, but I don't think I've damaged that. That part of my hip is fine.
Exactly. Like all of this,
Yeah.
the nerves work and are fine.
I totally forgot I had a giant scar till just now.
Oh, yeah.
From the last surgery.
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird.
How did it heal?
Pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to fade.
Okay.
I kind of don't want it to, but it is.
At least yours do fade. Mine don't. They're just forever.
That's what I want. I want forever scars from surgery.
And I have matching ones.
I
You do not have matching ones.
I need to have them come in on this side and cut a giant one open.
There you go. Well, and this side looks way better than this side because this is not medical advice. We are not morticians.
We are not.
Or doctors or surgeons or
but mainly not morticians.
Just yeah. I learned not to dress it. I just didn't dress it.
Oh, that's bad.
So after their dressing came off, I didn't put anything else on.
Oh. Are you supposed to?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're supposed to like keep them covered and shit and Band-Aids. They say Band-Aids
I can't
over
do
each
Band-Aids
one.
though.
Exactly. Because I have way more scarring on this side, but
From
it's
the
all
Band-Aid.
from adhesives.
Yeah.
So it's from the giant patch, and then it's from the Band-Aids, and then it like the gauze pads and so anything that I had sticky, scarred over here.
Exactly.
Because when you take it off, it literally just takes your skin with it.
Yeah, especially
And
the
they
longer you
had
have it on.
Oh, the fucking steri strips
Yeah.
were the worst. Those took skin like none other. And so this side, I just left it undressed.
Yeah, but yours wasn't like a giant
You're
scar
not
either.
like supposed
They're
to,
little
but
baby.
whatever.
You know what I mean? They're like
Yeah.
little cuts.
Yeah.
If you had a big one, do you think you would have? Like if you had one that was like mine, where they cut you
I don't
open?
know. I think it would depend on how tight it was.
Okay, that's fair.
Like if I was worried about it like weeping a whole lot.
I was
But
paranoid.
yeah. But yeah, no, I left that side undressed and it healed way better.
Nice.
Like way better. And there's no like extra scarring because I just have like all of this like patchwork stuff around the actual scars. So silly.
That was a weird segue.
Yeah, sorry
Subject.
about that. EDS.
Topic.
We scar weird. We heal weird. Yep. So what are we getting into this half?
I'm more about this.
Okay.
But I mean, we have to talk about becoming ill versus being ill.
Okay.
To kind of get to it, because they do connect.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know we've kind of introduced this thought process in other episodes, but I'm just absolutely fascinated by the difference between like how we deal with pain and experience pain versus how people who knew life well, I guess.
Yeah.
Who were well through part of life and then got ill. It's very different.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I know we get like almost irritated when we see.
The problem is it's hard to relate to for us.
Yeah.
Because all of this has been constant since we were kids. Like,
right. We
grew up in it. We learned ways to adapt, and we're more used to it, right?
Yeah.
So like when someone's on there and like, oh, I just recently started developing symptoms and this, it's like, it's really hard to not be a like cynic, I guess,
right,
about it.
Yes,
you know?
Yeah. Well, and we're kind of cynical
just
by
their
nature.
fault. It's
right, exactly. Like it's not like disparaging, but
no,
it's just it's weird. It's weird to us to have people be like, this is the end all be all.
Right. Oh, well, like in
I'm trying to think of an example.
There's a question about whether or not someone should do surgery.
Yeah.
They were like pros and cons on doing this surgery versus waiting.
Labral surgery.
Yeah, which we've done. I've had labral surgery. The pros to it are do it now so that it's not worse later. But they were thinking to wait, like put it off because it might get worse.
Well, that was the interesting thing was like, should I do it now when I'm young or wait? And I was like, do it now.
Yeah, like, and that's just a weird thought process to us because absolutely do it now.
Yeah, you're going to recover better younger. That's just in general, right? So it was just, it's interesting. And then you have them like, oh, is this like a part of the illness, or is this just a weird thing?
See, I feel bad for being upset about those.
It's interesting though, because
it is.
You just
the things that people want to correlate to, which is like, it's we find connections and everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to look at the Facebooks and be like, is this particular thing an EDS symptom? And then everyone will be like, yes, because I can do it. But at the same time, maybe it's just something that you can do.
Right.
Like it might not be connected to EDS.
Right.
It's so hard to wade through Facebook for me because it's a minefield.
Right. Yes. Well,
I want to go in there and talk with people, but I don't.
Yeah. Because you want, like, it would be great to have, like, that support network.
Yeah.
Within Facebook, but and I had this thought last night where I wonder if people dramatize things because they feel like they have to be taken seriously, and then it just is this vicious cycle of like, oh well, my stuff's not as bad as that thing I saw, so I have to make it like
I get that
more
impression. Dramatic.
But they're doing it to each other.
Yeah.
And it just feeds on itself. And I'm like, but no one should have to, right?
I do the opposite, or I used to, and I haven't used Facebook in like years now. I use Messenger to keep in touch with like 3 people. Yeah. But I don't use Facebook. But I used to underplay everything I did because I was always like, well, it's not that big a deal. People have it worse off. Like when I had spinal surgery, I announced it just by saying, oh, I have a tumor being removed next week.
Right. Well, and that goes into that, like, why are we so flippant? Because that's how we survived.
Right. So I guess it makes sense that the opposite would be true, that people would feel like they have to bring a more drastic case to it, or a drastic take. Yeah. So that people would be like, oh, okay, yes, I get it. But see, then I always get caught off guard by thinking that maybe it's for some people are doing it for attention.
I think there is some of that.
Not a lot, but I do feel like it's present, that there are people there that are just trying to get eyes on them.
Well, and I think that probably comes from a lack of that in like their personal lives. Yeah. Which, I mean, if you're thinking about it like psychologically and like empathetically, it makes sense. It just is irritating in a way when you're trying to keep yourself on a good path, mentally and psychologically, and then you're having to wade through all of that. And it's hard because like we go through this whole like we don't want attention, like we don't want that. We don't want the eyes on us. We don't want, which is weird. We have a podcast. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
It's true. Sorry. The other day I was like,
I don't know.
I don't want to show my face on this thing. You have a podcast,
right?
Dude.
And I'm like, I won't make TikToks because I'm self-conscious.
But we have TikToks.
Right. Right? So weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and so, coming back to like being ill versus becoming ill, like a lot of Facebook is like looking for answers for people who catch it, or at least develop symptoms later in life. It seems, right? Right. They want answers. And then the second topic is confirmation bias, which you find a lot, and it bothers me so much that people are looking for their voice to just be reiterated instead of looking for answers. We came
across a really strange one the other day that was like, I don't want professional
no professional opinions.
Yeah.
I just want people to look at my MRIs.
Yeah. It was
weird.
It was like, here, strange, like non-medical professionals, can you read my MRI? Yeah. And then it was like they didn't want professional opinions. And it was stated in the post. Yeah. It was very strange. It's just...
If anything, I feel bad for these people because
they're clearly looking for answers.
Right. They just want to know what's going on.
Right. It's just... But it's also that like drama piece where they're essentially drama competing with one another. It's like...
Well, they look around and
it's like the Disability Olympics that they're playing against one another, but they don't have to, and they're creating that cycle.
Right. It's like a culture that develops inside of these Facebook groups. Yeah. Because they're like seeing everyone else's.
Drastic, and it has to be like.
And they see someone with something that's not as severe as them, but it's played up. So then they're going to be like, oh, well, I have this, and it's so much worse than that thing.
Well, and it's like.
And that has to be.
Yeah, when they use like the medical terms for very like weird things, like I don't know, what was the one that we saw that
Oh, the curling of the fingers or whatever. Remember that?
Oh, the contracture?
Yeah.
Yeah. That, I don't know. There's just...
Facebook is just an enigma to me.
Yes. And it's hard because you really want it to be worthwhile, and it just... Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's really helpful.
Yeah.
Like if you have a very direct question, or like when I use it, generally what I'm saying is like, has anyone experienced this? Do you have any ideas?
Right.
Or like, I had a strange thought that you guys might relate to. Or like asking questions to collect information.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just...
It depends on how they approach it, I think. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and why they have to approach it a certain way.
Right.
There's just a lot of, like, the confirmation bias stuff just bothers me. When I see someone who's looking for an answer, but they clearly want to disagree with, like, their doctor or something.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for that one person to be like, well, I had this exact same situation.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yes, so see, it clearly is this.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, but if you're only looking for your opinion, you're not really looking for answers.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy.
Right. Well, and like this one is, does anyone have costochondritis, which is the medical term for like inflammation of the cartilage, usually in the chest.
Yeah.
So like, it sounds really drastic, but it's really just like, yeah, I have inflammation.
Really, we're just out of touch with the Facebook groups, I feel like.
Yeah. Which is hard because
we're just
like,
too straightforward
want to.
And open about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the culture we've developed on the Discord.
Yeah.
Where there's no like competing.
Right. Everyone's just like, I had a shitty day.
Right.
And this is why. Or, hey, do you have advice for blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or like I was posting, then I got my images done and they were very supportive. Like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And it's nice because we're able to like ask clarifying questions without it becoming, because you know how
like we're not
sometimes
criticizing
yes, like criticizing, or like they feel attacked
mm-hmm.
if you come back and you're like, no, that's totally normal.
That's the biggest thing. That's why I don't respond to people, because I don't want them to feel like I'm coming at them.
Right.
If I have a differing opinion. Like there was a really sad post where this lady was talking about how hard her daily life was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty apparent that she might be going through some depression.
Yes.
And like, everyone was like addressing the concern, but I want to be like, hey, have you maybe addressed that your
mental health?
Right.
But if you say that, like imagine,
dude, if someone came at me like that, I would be triggered.
Where you're like, I'm having all of these problems, and someone's like, is your mental health okay?
Right.
Because, and that's the other part, is like, you can't read tone.
Right, exactly.
And people tend to get really offended or like really upset about things. And then the other weird one that I find in the forums is like people drawing very strange, kind of inane conclusions to things. Like this one's like, how many zebras are left-handed? Is that a zebra thing? And you're like, no, this is just being left-handed.
Right.
It's not a zebra thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
There's just like very strange conclusions. Like I know autism is one that I see a lot, where people are drawing that kind of parallel in there, where you're like, you have autism and HEDS.
Yeah.
Specifically HEDS usually. But no, like they don't cause one another.
Right, right.
It's not causation, it's just correlation.
Yeah,
like,
that's the...
Yeah. Oh my God.
My phone.
You did a thing.
Does not want to be near the mic.
Right? Oof.
But that's like, it's weird to be missing out on this whole group of people because of the just being out of touch with it, I guess.
Yeah.
And being afraid to comment. Like, I don't want to upset
right,
anybody.
Right, exactly. Well, or... Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the upsetting people, or like people starting drama, and like, oh my God, I've seen so much drama in the Facebook groups, and you're like, why? Why are we having drama about EDS?
Right.
What are you doing?
We already have EDS, guys. Let's not make it more complicated.
How do you have energy for this? Yeah. And then like, it's hard too, because you see the people who want to stay positive.
Yeah.
And then people shoot them the
God.
fuck down.
Yeah.
Or they feel personally attacked by that positivity.
Right.
Which just makes me sad because you're like, if you're out there trying to like be positive for you, because it's not positivity for other people.
No, it's definitely
they're
for
being
you.
positive for themselves so that they can function because that's what they need in order to function.
Yeah.
It's just hard.
I feel okay. I've encountered people like that just in the wild, and and it's so bad if you're having like a bad day and you encounter that person, but you know that you don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
So you're just like, yeah, man, great.
Right.
Oh, I feel so bad for those people.
Yep.
When their positivity gets ruined for no reason.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And what was it? There was one that I posted a while back where someone was like, you should have put a trigger warning on it. Do you remember what it was?
Oh, no.
And it was something just very strange where I was like, what?
That was triggering?
What? And I think it had to do with some kind of positivity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what it was.
No, I vaguely remember what you're talking about.
But they were like, they felt personally attacked. It was like 2 people.
Yeah.
Out of all these people who commented who like, they were convinced that it was like a personal attack against them. It was like,
no.
dude, bro, what are you doing?
Our mission statement here isn't to attack people.
Oh, God.
We're many voices, not shit on the one.
What is a shoulder cuff?
I don't know. I've seen that before, and I've kind of wondered always, because...
Sorry, I was just reading this, and it says, anybody ever hear their shoulder cuffs move around?
Oh. Like your shoulder cuff? Like the internal? Like where the blade reaches? Like the joint cuff? What are they talking about, shoulder cuff?
I don't know.
Huh.
Do they mean... I wonder if they're hearing like the cartilage underneath the shoulder blade?
Like as it...
Because you hear that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of noisy. Ew.
I heard that.
I wonder if they can hear it.
It reminded me of the last week when my rib was out underneath.
Yeah.
I popped that out just by getting up.
God, the worst.
That was gnarly.
Oh my God. Let's see.
If by chance you're watching this and you are not about the drama and you just want a place to talk about your EDS or your mental health struggles and you don't want to feel judged, join our Discord.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you see, this is interesting too, because I've seen a lot of like younger zebras, people who were diagnosed in their teens.
Yeah.
And that to me is interesting because I see a lot of that. And maybe it's just like the teenage brain as it's developing and trying to cope with these things. But there's a lot of like rushing symptoms almost. Like as they discover EDS and
I get what you're saying.
They're not that far along in the progression, right? But like rushing symptoms. I saw someone who was talking about they have a cane.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want to go from a cane to like a walker and forearm crutches at 17. And I'm like, okay. So
that's an interesting mindset.
It's hard too because you can't, and we know that the more, this is really hard and I hate to say it, but it's true. The more bracing we do and the more like, I don't know, maybe you can read my mind here.
I think I get where you're going.
I don't know. We're losing functioning if we're not using functioning.
Right.
And so they're rushing
into
this
it
path.
is expediting the progression of the EDS. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get that. I fell into that in the beginning, kind of, because remember I went to, I guess it was from the surgeries, but for a while I was dependent on the cane and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, to move around.
Yeah.
Which also made it harder to get out of using the cane.
Right.
Like, because your body
perpetual cycle of
right. So jumping into a mobility aid, unless you absolutely need
and that's the thing is that mobility aids, especially like canes and things, it changes the way you walk.
Yeah.
And that's going to contribute to other things and other problems because we know that there's a cascade effect.
Yeah.
So if one thing is out, it's throwing out everything else to compensate. So if you're not building the muscle, that's where I was trying to go. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was the muscle part. If you're not building that muscle and using that muscle, it's going to start going backwards.
Regress.
There you go.
Yeah.
My brain is not connected to my word hole today.
It's been a rough day.
Waha. But yeah, it's just an interesting one.
That is interesting.
I just...
Okay, but was it... I guess it just depends. Like, it's hard to read someone's situation when they post.
And you're like, is it that severe?
Right.
Or
are you dependent, or are you just, like, doing it because you see
resigning
it coming?
to your illness? Where you're like, I'm going to be in a wheelchair
someday
by
I'm going to
30.
need it, so why don't I do it?
Yeah.
Which is just defeatist.
I feel that way about surgery just because I like surgery. Where I'm like, what are we doing next? And they're like, do you really need something? And I'm like, yes.
Yes,
I do.
I don't mind surgery. I just like getting things fixed.
Yeah. Well, and surgery just feels like progress. I think.
Yes.
And not to mention, like, we like surgery because surgery is one pain. And it's one, like, big pain.
And it goes
so
away.
it shuts everything else out.
Yeah.
And so all you have to deal with is the one pain from surgery. And the rest of everything is quiet.
Mm.
And that's so nice. So nice.
Yeah.
I love that. But, yeah, it's hard. And then the other thing that I put in here was, like, the research beyond, like, Google's first result.
Oh, yes.
Because the thing about Google is a great tool if we use it as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is we have to try like 7 different wordings to find things. You can't just jump and cling to the first result for whatever it is that you Googled.
You need to get more than one source. Yeah. Oh, man. My back hurts.
I threw up and your meds stopped working.
Twinning.
Oh, no.
It's not winning.
Which is funny because mine is still on board. It was just water and bagel. It was fine.
My back's just angry anyways. It's been bad.
You want to call it?
No, I can keep going. I see your face. I was actually thinking.
But I'm waiting for you to say, actually.
I'm getting better about resigning when I need to.
Also, why? Why in God's name are you sharing your entire after visit summary with all of your flippin' information on it?
Maybe to proof.
Stop it.
You know what I mean?
Stop it.
You got to prove that you've been through some stuff.
All of your medical information. You are sharing that with the internet.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place for that shit.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bad one. I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we should call it.
Okay. Sounds
just because I started dying.
Good. Yeah. And I have to go home and get my house ready. My in-laws are coming over for dinner.
She deserves a clean house and a hurt body.
Yes. Also, I want to know what you guys thought of the designs.
Yes. Because it's basically now we're just going to choose a way to get them out. We're not looking for money, so we're not going to do anything super fancy. We're just going to find a distributor that'll take it and make sure it says you want them.
Actually, we should just get a print. Like, can we just make them ourselves?
We could. Vizzy would know the answers to
that would be so cool.
How to do that.
I want to do that.
Yeah, I want a hoodie. Honestly, I want to get a hoodie with one of each. Because I'm a hoodie boy.
Yeah. Ditto.
You're not
all of my
a hoodie
zebra
boy.
gear is. I could be. You don't know.
I know for a fact that you're a hoodie girl. But yes, the designs. Even if you're listening, the logo from last week, the icon was one of the designs. And if you were curious about the rest, come join us on YouTube and watch last week's episode. And
what was that one? Where are all my EDS boys?
Yes, where are all my EDS boys?
Yeah.
Where are all my EDS? I still can't find them.
I know, it's weird.
Looking
it's
for my
weird.
boys.
Even in the
I
groups,
know.
I'm like, where's the boys? And then you see like 1 or two.
I'm a boy.
Maybe. And they lurk.
They do.
Is what I've noticed, because they'll like things, and I will get like likes from boys, but I never.
Speak up,
they
boys.
Just lurk.
Speak up.
Come on, man.
Don't make me your representation. That is a mistake, and we all know it.
True facts.
Yeah, we should call it.
Yep. I'm gonna die one day.
Someday, yeah. Not now. Not today. Not this way.
Not this way. Twin it to win it.
Twin it to win it.
All right. We love you. Thanks for coming along.
Mm-hmm. It was chaotic, but it was good, I think.
Yes. Like, share, subscribe. I'm dying on the inside saying it. But we love you, and we want to hear from you. Mm-hmm. And we want to keep this going. And we're really excited for things to come.
Mm-hmm. So comment for reals.
Yes.
If you have any input, what's going on with you, or join Discord.
Or topics you want us to go over.
Yes.
Because we're always game for that.
And join us on Fridays.
Yeah.
That's when we're going to do a lot of our episode planning, and that's a good time to jump in and discuss with us what's going on with you, and maybe that'll bring up a good topic. So.
Yep. And our Discord link is always in our descriptions. Mm-hmm. So come join us. It's great fun. Good people.
And if it doesn't work, just message us, and I'll send it to you.
Yes. Yeah. I think it works.
Yeah.
As far as I know. All right, my friends, we will see you in the next one. Take care. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others.
Mm-hmm. Bye.